What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with data, we do have a lot of big things coming out this week, even this evening. So we have the house price index, GDP, industrial production, retail sales, unemployment. So all of this is going to really impact Chinese stocks on Tuesday. It is a shorter week, so the market is closed on Monday as a FYI. So again, all of this will be impacting Tuesday. On Monday evening, we do have the loan prime rate, 1 year and 5 year. So again, that will impact potentially Tuesday's trading day. We do also have a lot of big companies putting out their earnings, such as Netflix, Intel. So most likely that'll impact the broader market. And the reason why I bring this up is because algorithmic trading still does move NIO. Even though, for instance, on Friday, NIO had a pretty solid day, closed in the green, definitely deserving of a round of applause because the market was fairly crappy that day, but we only saw one transaction. So volume still primarily does come from algorithmic trading, so this is why I bring this up. Similarly, even though the next thing has zero relevance to China whatsoever, or even technically NIO, the whole Greenland scenario, that's going to really impact the broader market. So over the weekend, we did have Trump saying that he's going to hit Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, UK, Netherlands, and Finland with a 10% tariff effective February the 1st. So that is going to be digested by the broader market. Plus, he did state that it's going to rise to 25%. I think it's in June. So kind of crazy stuff for that. This is unofficial though, but it looks like the EU is wanting to suspend a trade deal with the States. So again, on Tuesday, the market's going to be digesting a lot. So it's going to be digesting this, it's going to be digesting Chinese data, as well as this, which is a fairly bullish thing for NIO. So in 120 days, ES8, there's been 50,000 deliveries. That is huge. So generally, the market loves to see this type of stuff, whether that be new launches or milestones. So Tuesday is going to be quite the volatile day. So in general, like I said, this type of stuff has usually pushed NIO higher. And then we have the whole Greenland scenario. Then we have data. And plus, we have over the weekend a lot of articles about Canada. And so in case you aren't really familiar with that, so Canada did lower the tariff from 100% down to 6.1, but only for 49,000 vehicles. Then they're going to be increasing it periodically, but I feel like NIO didn't move up as much as I would have anticipated. And I saw some people kind of chattering about that same point and why NIO lagged. And I think the main reason why is because every single thing that you see coming out is BYD. So I feel like there is a just mentality that most of those vehicles are going to be BYD, because I don't believe that there's any breakdown of where that's going to be coming from. Like, is it just first come, first serve or whatever else? Because technically almost every Chinese EV can produce 49,000 in like couple months. Like even just ES8 deliveries 50,000 120 days. So in general, this 49,000 is going to go very fast, probably in like a couple weeks, in all fairness. So that is why most likely NIO didn't really move up as much as I would have anticipated on Friday. But nonetheless, this upcoming week there really isn't anything planned associated to NIO, so no fireside chats. But then again, there usually isn't in NIO's case. But looking at shorts, 8.18% of the free float is being shorted. Works to be 166 million shares overall are being shorted. DTC being at 3.63 days does really signal that shorts are still overextended. Still see some signs of naked shorting, so there's more shares being shorted than on loan. That shouldn't necessarily happen, but it's been like that since September, and SEC or like everyone just seems to not really care. But this week will be an interesting one. I'm curious to see how shorts are going to kind of treat it, whether they're going to double down or if they're going to return. Like I said, on Tuesday, just that day alone is going to be crazy for the market. There's going to be so many different things being digested. And then aside from that, though, From a bull standpoint, you do see a consensus for it to be between that 450 and 5. So bulls, obviously not too much optimism in the foreseeable future. Looks like, yes, there will be good expectation for it to be above 6, but for this week it looks like between 450 and 5. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 450, so we'll have to kind of wait and see. With it closing at 471 on Friday, still trading between this S1 and this S2, so 455 is going to be the next strong support, and it kind of bounced off that general range numerous times this past week, so we do know that's a good support level. And most likely, in all fairness, it probably will be tested sometime this week as well. But if it holds, that's going to be the $1 million question. Flip side, 480 followed by 521 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. And similarly, I could see this 480 being touched as well on Tuesday, only because of, again, the positive stuff linking to Chinese EVs. It's just a lot of American kind of situations that's going to really impact the market. So even though NIO in theory should really move higher based on everything that's affecting Chinese EVs, it still might get dragged down. So anticipate some volatility. So for those of you that are day traders or swing traders, this week might be a fairly good week for you. Aside from that though, on the actual chart itself, I'd like to say that this is bullish. It's kind of showing some signs that it wants to recover, but we've seen that happen time and time again. So I'm not going to get overly excited just yet. Because it does need to really stay above this 10-day moving average, typically for 2 consecutive days to really confirm a trend. Aside from that, we do have that 200-day moving average sitting at 509, and then the 50-day moving average sitting at 535. Both are fairly big deals for NIO. So again, you need to see it stay above these levels for 2 consecutive days to really show a growing trend. If not, it might be just a type of scenario where it just kind of trends down a little bit, because we are kind of staring off of a virtual cliff at the same time. One positive though is 𝗖𝗧𝗧𝗧. It is very oversold, so a good piece of news in theory based on some of the things even that came out over this weekend. So Canada and also that big milestone for the ES8, that in theory should really push it higher because of it being very oversold. So let me know your general thoughts on that. Market position, you see some good willing buyers, a lot more than the Thursday, but we see as well a lot of willing sellers. So NIO needs to really come out strong, get above that 200-day moving average, and then that way you can kind of see a nice push higher. So like I said already, probably 4 or 5 times in this video, it is going to be a very volatile week. So if you want a dollar cost average, this week might be a good one for you, or whether you swing trade or whatever else. Let me know your thoughts on NIO. Are you bullish right now, bearish? Where do you realistically see things going? One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.